What does calling mean to me? I think I have more questions about calling than any conclusive answers. In looking around, I thought, calling to me, I often see as pastors and missionaries always seem very confident in their calling. The banker and the nurse, not so much, in my experience. So I often wonder, like, we use a language in certain contents to say calling, but then we don't often hear it in the marketplace, or I don't in my conversation. So it made me curious as to, do I believe we're all called, or are only a few called? And then I had to think, well, what is calling? And I read some things and thought, we're called to faithfulness, we're called to service. But then I thought, but there seems to be a uniqueness to us, which got me thinking, are we uniquely put together for a specific purpose? And I think right now I'm asking a lot of those questions as God called me to something specific. And where I started going with that was, what is the passion inside me? And I realized I just stopped that with, it doesn't matter, because there's practical reasons why that wouldn't happen or that wouldn't happen. And people would say, well, if you could do anything or whatever, what would that be? And I hate that question because I think there's a responsibility, a stewardship to what God has given us. And so to look at that and own it, a false humility would go, I don't have anything. But stewardship would say, yes, we all do. So what is it? And it's not a matter of comparison, which is the trap I often fall into, but it is actually a stewardship of what He's given us. And I always thought stewardship in terms of one thing, finances, but now I'm looking at it and thinking, God has given us many resources and talents and skills and even the passions that are so unique and a specific area. When I see someone who has a specific area that they are passionate about, I am profoundly amazed where that comes from. And so in looking at that and thinking, if these are all from God, then putting it all together, I think that is calling. It's there. It's like raw resources. And I find where I have a passion is the mining of the raw resources and God giving the clarity of what He's put together. And even the journey is part of that as He prepares. Like I think of Joseph and the fact that he could read and he was educated and the others maybe weren't, and all of the things that were put together for the purpose that God had. So the calling journey, I do think there is a process, and I'm very intrigued, and I do have a lot more digging in that I would like to find out, and asking people, how did you know? And I think there is an element of faith as well to taking the risk, and I think it's fear that actually takes us in the other direction.